If you want to learn how to make this delicious peach cobbler with a little bit of alcohol to give it the best peach flavor filling with a brown butter cake topping, please keep watching. In a small saucepan, put your butter, and you're going to bring this up to low heat. Slowly start to cook, and the milk solids are going to rise up to the top. So you'll start to see brown little specks starting to come, and use a rubber spatula just to stir this around so the brown little specks don't burn, and you'll start to see it kind of get foamy. So a nice low heat will be nice, and you can give it kind of a swirl sometimes like I just did. Butter is what we're going to use for our cake topping, and it is going to taste so delicious. So while we wait for the brown butter to soften, we're going to get started on our dry ingredients. So I'm going to add my AP flour to a bowl, and I'm going to add my cinnamon, and this is going to give it a nice warm spice, my salt, and my baking powder. And I'm going to give all of this a really good whisk just to ensure everything's combined, and I'm going to set that to the side. So my brown butter is ready to go, and this is the texture that you're looking for. So it shouldn't be hard. It should kind of just feel like softened butter, like if you're gonna make cookie dough or anything like that. So that's kind of what you're looking for, and that's perfect. And let's get started with this cake batter. So in a bowl, you're going to put your yummy brown butter and add your sugar. And using a handheld mixer, I'm going to start off on low speed and then slowly work my way up to medium high speed, and I'm going to give this a mix for about 2 minutes just so that I see that it's fluffy and it's light and doubled in volume, and there's lots of air incorporated in there. So it really depends how the texture of your butter. So ideally, this should only take about 2 minutes, but if you take it to 3 minutes, that is fine. So 2 minutes have passed, and it's starting to get fluffy and come together. And now I'm going to add my vanilla extract, and I'm going to give this mix just until it's combined, and I'm ready to add my dry ingredients. And use a rubber spatula just to kind of combine everything. Once you add flour into any cake batter, the gluten starts to form, and you don't want to mix it too much. I also don't want flour flying everywhere with the handheld mixer. So I just give it a toss with the rubber spatula, and then I go in with my mixer. And you want to mix this on low speed. Once you start seeing that the flour's incorporated, then you can start streaming in your buttermilk. You can do it in 1 addition and 2 additions. Cake batter is very forgiving, and once you got everything in there, this is how it should look like. So it's definitely light and airy. And let's get started with this peach filling, guys. Okay, so I have 7 peaches here. So what I'm going to do, I just cut it in half and just kind of drag my knife, hold my knife steady, and then rotate the peach. And I do that to all the peaches, and then I just pop the cores out. When they're like ripe, the core tends to just come out really easily. And then I'm going to cut this about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to cut all my peaches up and set those in a bowl. So let's get started on the dry ingredients. In a small bowl, put your cornstarch, cardamom, salt, and cinnamon and give that a really good whisk. Now I'm going to add freshly grated nutmeg onto my dry ingredients before I toss them in with the fresh peaches. I'm going to grate lemon, about half of a lemon, and I'm going to juice about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then I'm just going to grab the dry ingredients and sprinkle that over and just give it a toss to ensure everything is nicely coated, and we're ready to cook this into our caramel sauce. Grab a large saucepan. You want a saucepan big enough for all your peaches to get cooked in, and you want to give it enough space so that there's some stirring. So just add your butter and your brown sugar, and I'm going to bring this up to a medium high heat, and I'm going to let the butter and the sugar sort of melt, and it's going to create like a small little caramel sauce. And it looks good when it's all melted in and it's starting to bubble everywhere. And now we're going to add our alcohol. I'm using Grand Marnier, which is this orange liqueur, but bourbon would be really nice with this, and whiskey would be really nice with this as well. So once you get to this point, you are going to carefully add it over because it's going to create some bubbles and some steam, but that's kind of fun. And once you add the alcohol, kind of just give it a quick mix. You don't want to cook the alcohol down too much. And then I'm just going to immediately add my peaches in there. Gosh, this is smelling so good. And all the that caramel little sauce that we just made is just going to coat these peaches so well, and it's going to create this incredible sauce that is just not like your average peach cobbler. This is definitely restaurant quality peach cobbler at your house. So I can't wait for you guys to try this recipe out. So this is looking good. The sauce is definitely bubbling. You know this is ready to go. The peaches are just a little tender, but they're still pretty firm because they're going to continue to cook in the oven. So you don't want them to be soft at this point. So let's take this off the heat, and you definitely want to let this cool down because it's pretty hot and you don't want the cake batter to sort of melt. So let this sit out for a little bit. You can put it in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes. So it will cool or the freezer. It will cool super quick. I'm just going to set it off to the side, and I'll come back in 15 minutes. Okay, so our peaches have cooled, and now I have a buttered baking dish. I have an oval 9x12 would be the dimensions of it, so it's a pretty large one. And I'm gonna toss all my peaches in there and just ensure all that yummy caramel sauce is there, and it's just coating the peaches so nicely. But you get all that juice out because you want it. So try and evenly disperse the peaches because you want enough space for the cake batter. And now we can grab the cake batter, and what I like to do is just grab little mounds and just place it evenly throughout the cake pan, and this will just help me spread it out easier. I use a small offset spatula, you can use an offset spatula or even this rubber spatula and just smooth it out as best as you can and try and have the cake batter evenly across, so no one side of the pan has a bunch of cake batter. And this is ready to go to the oven, home stretch. So I have a preheated oven and it's set at 350 degrees, and this will bake for 40 to 45 minutes just until a cake tester is inserted in and no cake comes out. Okay, so here is the peach cobbler. It's like bubbling. Oh my god, look at all that like juicy, saucy. Oh my god, it's so good. It's screaming my name. Eat me. But you can smell the brown butter, and guys, this is so delicious. I like to let it sit for like 5 minutes to slightly cool off, and I like to serve it over vanilla ice cream. I think that's the best way to do it. So let's dig in. Guys, this is so yummy. The peaches are perfectly cooked and it has this great flavor. I can taste a little bit of that alcohol and all the spices just hit the spot. And the brown butter cake topping is to die for. I really hope you guys enjoy this recipe and give it a try. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. See you next time.